The Effects of America's Body Images by Jessica Niehoff, Everything, Genevieve Harvey, Andy Costa.
How many people in here have social media? Raise your hand. How many people are affected by it in their day-to-day life, body image or not?
In fact, 77% of Americans have a social media profile, rendering them susceptible to negative body images.
So, through our research, we've concluded that the media's portrayal of body image impacts American society socially, economically, scientifically, and ethically. So, for example, American society is affected socially by low self-esteem and not thinking you're good enough due to other people's pictures. Economically, because influencers are paid for certain ads they put out and what they put on their accounts. And then scientifically, because depression and anxiety are common now and it's the highest it's ever been. And then ethically, because immoral practices on different accounts.
All right, so obviously the most obvious lens to start out with would be social. So you and I both have many verbal and nonverbal cues that we can pick up on between humans. However, with social media, we are behind a screen so often that we are starting to miss, as a society, these social cues that we're given. We are very social creatures with many various verbal and nonverbal cues. However, the understanding of these cues is at a steep decline with direct correlation of the large amount of time Americans spend behind their screens. Social media is directly affecting American society through its way of drawing youth and older in, trapping them in this untangible universe with the constant portrayal of the ideal body image through the pictures of models, celebrities, athletes from the advertisements that we see every day. And this is giving people in our society a second thought on how they view themselves. So giving them a negative body connotation. And this is causing failure to observe social cues, causing depression, social anxiety, and even having people develop many different eating disorders, such as anorexia and bulimia.
So the next topic that we did lens is economic, and having multiple ads pop up. I know for me and everyone else that has Instagram or anything, ads are constantly popping up on your feed. So it's common for us to see ads, and this was an ad released by Proactive, and it says, "Got acne? Just ask your boyfriend what to do. Oh, that's right, you don't have a boyfriend." As this ad focuses and it's directed towards young teenage girls, it shows that they're not worthy of being in a relationship without perfect and clear skin. So someone who is ideal is Kim Kardashian, and with clear skin, Kim Kardashian gets paid $500,000 for some post, whether that's advertising for different products that she uses, such as smoothie recipes that she's done, or there's dieting lollipops that she's included. It just shows that what you have to do to be the ideal image for teenage girls. And then Elizabeth Lopez is a fitness trainer and created the Hourglass workout and advertises it for on social media. And she has 119 million followers. And as a result, that her direct audience is young teenage girls. And by posting transformation pictures from people who have used her products, it just shows girls that's what they need to look like, and that's how they need to conform themselves to be this perfect image.
Americans in today's age have multiple self-esteem issues as well as problems with the way they think they look. This might leave you wondering why a handsome man or pretty woman would feel ugly when they see the reflection in the mirror. Yet the cause of this problem is right in front of our face and has practically been shoved in our face every day since we were little kids. The cause of this problem is social media. The media is constantly setting standards for what a man or woman should look like. But did you know these standards leave people comparing themselves to the people in those images, which can cause things as depression or anxiety to try to obtain that perfect image. The barrage of images of ultra-thin women and extremely muscular men has led to a general dissatisfaction among consumers and might be a cause of depression, low self-esteem, and eating disorders such as anorexia. Obtaining the perfect photo is everything in today's age that you can post online. Most of us in this room has probably retaken a photo more than once because we felt as if we did not look good enough in it. This is causing some girls to take drastic measures, though, such as cosmetic surgery. In 2014, more than 160,000 teens ages 13 to 19 had cosmetic cosmetic, minimally invasive procedures, and more than 63,000 had surgical ones, according to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. The image set by the use of ultra-thin models in advertisements is setting a bad example for Americans, and especially girls, because this is encouraged them to be as well ultra-thin, but that is not physically or mentally healthy for these kids. Some observers complain that the current look glorifies eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa.
The ethical ones. Ethics are what makes people individuals. They are the morals that determine whether something is right or wrong by your own standards. They can interfere with laws, but are usually the most important element of an argument. And with that being said, this is causing American society to call the ethics of influencers and celebrities into question because of the impact that they're having on the rest of society, knowingly or unbeknownst to them. So, it is always important to discuss ethics when you are talking about today's youth because they are the next generation and they are growing with these ethics around them. So, parents are supposed to monitor their children and pass down their ethics. They are the adult figure in their life, and the children usually model themselves after them in some shape, form, or fashion. We cannot allow a negative body image or connotation to become a part of a parental influence in America. It has far too many impacts on different lenses, such as economically, scientifically, in their literal brains, and socially amongst their peers, to allow this to happen. If a parent has a negative body image, then a child probably or may not see the negatives to it as in, is this okay? If it's not okay, because, hey, my mom thinks of herself this way, my father thinks of himself this way, what's the problem with me thinking that way? All children are a product of their environment, basically. And so parents need to look at themselves and understand that they're beautiful the way they are, everyone is, and because they're the ones that are passing that thought down to their children. And it's not just for themselves. And then it is completely unethical for plastic surgeons to attempt to operate on teens. I have this little picture here to demonstrate. He has all the markings for plastic surgery and everything, and it says perfect question mark, because it's when you undergo these surgeries, you start to question, am I really a pretty person, beautiful person, whatever adjective you would like to use? Because if you undergo those, then why? If you are already a beautiful person, why would you need to undergo plastic surgery, get a tattoo, whatever it may be? I have a little graph here saying who's rejecting plastic surgery, and you can see the two smallest percentages are teens and those in their 50s. Those in their 50s being 3.3%, and then the teens 6.6%. Everyone else takes up the rest of the chart, 20, 30, 40s. The rejectance level for plastic surgery at this age is so intolerably low because people think it's okay. I should change my body. It's expected of me because I'm not perfect. I'm not beautiful. I'm not what society expects. I'm not the ideal image that I may see on my social media when I open my phone. So by undergoing any surgery, you are already insinuating that you as a person maybe not deserve change, but that you should have change because everyone's different, but you're working towards the same ideal body type that you see in advertisements and posts, and just that other people are instead of just being yourself. So for our solutions.
Parents need to be more involved in their children's lives on social media.
However, we do understand that this may be incredibly difficult because kids can make ulterior accounts and they're not always in their parents' care.
Restrictions need to be put upon influencers for what they promote to their audiences.
And this may also be very difficult without infringing on the rights of influencers and their capabilities to use their platform and their celebrity status.
And advertisers should use models who look at an average weight instead of using extremely fit models.
Ultimately, the social media industry needs to take a look in the mirror and understand that what they are doing may not be lawfully negligent, but they are impacting society in so many ways in only a negative fashion, and it needs to be changed. Okay, I'll look that.
Okay, thank you. So first question goes to Jessica. What was the strongest counter argument to the solution or conclusion that your team identified, and why?
Okay, we were kind of arguing over this. Should we consider, because we all know that social media is very beneficial to us, but we were trying to point out why it's not. So we didn't know if we should bring that counter argument in because we didn't know if it would outweigh our argument. So,
Okay. So to be clear, you did not have a counter argument?
no.
Okay. Alrighty. Angelina, describe an argument from one of your peers' individual reports that made you think differently about your team's solution or conclusion.
Cam's actually, I never really put it into perspective how many people actually get plastic surgery, and from his pie chart, it really showed me that so many teens are out there not having any rejection towards this at all and are completely fine with it. And that kind of ties in with my lens, how if one person, gets plastic surgery, then you see it as okay for you to get it, and that just kind of spreads across our population.
Good. Genevieve, describe how the content of your team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion.
So all of our individual essays kind of focused on both sides of the counter and not argument. So then when we were discussing what we wanted to do, we just had to realize that some of our arguments weren't as strong as others, and just deciding which one we wanted to put in, and which evidence and facts were the best to make this the most best presentation we could put together.
Okay. And then finally, Cam, in the future, what change would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect that to improve the team presentation?
The times that we work, because in order to collaborate on a presentation like this, to bring the IRRs that we wrote together, it's incredibly hard to work on it at different times. So when we would go home, we all have different outside activities that we have to do. And so we would just log on whenever we could, and it would be really hard to bounce our ideas off of each other and bring them together and synthesize them when we weren't even on the document at the same time. So I guess the norm that I would change would be when we work, and the norm was that we would just work at our own pace, and I feel like we should outline a time just to get on and make that time that everyone was free, instead of just doing whatever else we were doing, whether it be watching TV or studying for another thing. Just set that off to the side and then take care of our presentation, and then go do those other things.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Hold on.